Okay, guys, it's Sunday morning. Gonna take a look around the internet. I'm looking for these guys. I always do this ritual on Sunday morning. Type in the word Forex and do a search on YouTube and then filter by newest upload. Most recent upload here. So I couldn't resist. This is 5 factors that you need to consider before taking a trade. I think you know the factor he's considering here, the trend. Now, if you're a person that can, his is a 4-hour chart. If you're a person that has the patience to wait 5 days to get paid, or 5 days in a trade that's going up and down, and you're looking at the equity, and I think we all know by now, if you want to make a lot of money, you got to trade big, if only for a small move. And the GameStop. So the guys in the band last night were like talking about the markets, and it just reminded me of good old Dodd-Frank. I mean, the fact that the government wants to intervene now it's hurting them. But I mean, well, the forex brokers in the United States were wiped out, and now it looks like they're going to wipe out Ameritrade and all these people that were just hedging themselves in a way, right? Their liquidity was there. If you're going to get zero commissions, you're going to have to pay for it somewhere. So they were kind of leasing out maybe 10% of their, or they're leaning on the clearinghouses. But it's the same old story, different day. That's been going on for a while. Actually, I had a Refco account back in the day, and Refco was sued, and that was and I got like this class action lawsuit thing, and I thought, that's so silly, There was not enough money in that account to really even worry about it. So here, the idea here on this chart, some guy asked me, oh, he's beginning at trading. I think this is a good place to start. 5 factors is considered before trading. Now, when you watch this video, it's going to be hard to imagine yourself taking these trades, but I think every time I read a book, I'd always say to myself, in this book, this makes so much sense. But then when I take it to the actual, and back then, you had to pick up a phone and say, I want to buy Christmas corn, because if you said I wanted to buy December corn, they thought you said November. Next thing you know, you get your statement in the mail and it says you're long. Or how did that work? I would get into a trade and I'd just have to know what I was in. I had no real time. There was no trading terminal on the chart, so it's just like if you go to this where people go, the big social charting site. So it's funny because the crowd rules. When the mob decides to buy something, and you wonder if Bitcoin is part of this kind of escape to a certain sector rotation. Now, if you look at utilities back in the day, people used to barely move. It wasn't something you could make money at. The volatility is your friend. If you can adjust the size, because as soon as the car you're driving all of a sudden weighs 400 tons, and then it goes to weighing as much as a mosquito, you have to change the suspension, right? You cannot just come into these markets. And this guy is saying on this chart that you should only take shorts. So you mean I can just pull the trigger? So you just have to wait for a setup, for an engulf, and I can already I just watched another video before this, so I'm already trying to. These are all fantasy. This is all fantasy talk. This is ridiculous, because, and this guy's trading, and I know he's probably making money. Blah blah blah, right? And what his trading academy? I don't know how much he makes from his trading academy. And he seems like a jolly good fellow, because he's got an accent. So I'm just going to go through this thing, and check out other people's approach to trading. No offense, but I can see this chart right here, all my trades. I can literally call them all out, because I could trade this 4-hour chart and I could hold trades for 12 hours to make way more money. It's more work, but I could make way more money every day trading this 4-hour chart. I guarantee you, especially if I'm looking at the structure here and I know that we're on unfair value, we're down in a 5-year low. Look at this thing, and even if you got stopped out of that, if you got market orders available to pull the trigger, now it's all about, can you even take advantage of these moves? The guy that asked me about beginner trading, you could just stare at this chart all day and talk about how you should be short this thing. And I can show you precisely on here the highest probability, lowest risk entries for just range trading it. So it's range trading. Do you know how to range trade? Do you know how to buy low and sell high in a cycle of noise bullshit? Do you know how to trade noise? Can you just buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell? Or are you transfixed on, I'm only going to be a seller because it's in a downtrend? Now, right, is that going to go down forever? This is the whole joke about, I got a 20 EMA, it's in a downtrend, only look for sells today. Okay, if you're going to live for the next fucking 100 years, and then some other guy posted, I'm still getting comments, an array of comments so two things that triggered the world apparently was ICT and this level 3 trading or level 2 trading, where I can see these big orders down there. Oh, there's big orders down there. So what? Is your order in there? Are you really going to trade that? Can you even perceive yourself trading it? The guy that wants to trade, a beginning trader, where do I start? I'd say, listen, how much, and I don't mean to discourage you, because I like trading because it's unknown. It's the future's unknown. Where, if you have a job where you make $300,000 a year, you're making $300,000 a year. Now your biggest enemy is inflation. Or you're hoping they give you a raise to keep up with inflation, or your benefits are going to overcome this gap. So you're not just keeping your head above water and every day's a struggle. So the problem with the market is that you could have the best algorithm in the world that's been making you so much money. Now, if you pull out all the stops, if you go in too big, if the account's too small and it can't withstand a hit of 20% when you just made 300%, and I'm up about, so I finally made it to, I made $572. I'm sorry, I made $3,500 in 2 weeks on this $10,000 account. So I started at 10 grand, and I picture myself in $1,000 account, actually. To me, I can perceive taking $1,000 account and taking it up to 10 grand and just take out 5 grand and just go like that. I can't imagine putting 10 grand in an account, risking 2% on some dumb shit setup entry because, that's great. But why? You're trading like a guy traded 20 years ago on a screen. That's another problem. When are people going to realize that in this world, if you even Ryan Brown's making more money with his robots that are kind of clunky. So I had this one robot is running his, and I put it on Martingale, and this one, I swear to God, there was a data set that I sampled of 2 weeks on the pound. It killed it. But it's a linear grid entry. So what I'm saying is that the spacing is just every 20 pips, just keep selling when it's going up, selling into that. So on this chart here, your complete contrarian's making way more money because he understands the auction, the new fresh lows, unfair value, back into fair value. That's one trade. That's a high probability scalp out of the gate, and then it may engulf. That is so much money. That's 8-to-1 ratios. You're running 20 pip stops, so I'm writing a new script set. 8 pip window. Imagine I buy 8 pips below me. I buy 3 tickets in an 8 pip window. Now I can drag and drop. These are drag and drops. Put it in there. I could place it 14 pips deep with my hand. And at 14 pips deep, it's going to buy a 1K. 3 pips lower, it's going to buy another 1K. And 2 pips lower, it's going to buy another. So it's kind of a little compressed logarithmic entry. It's kind of it's got a tail on it there. I could put I don't want to put them closer than, because I'm going to run a lot of these. It's 3K. So I did the math. With a 3-pip spread, you're risking about $4 per drop to make, I suppose, a worse than break even, a break even, and then up and up and up. So I'm putting the worst and break evens there, and when you drop those, you have to be aware of the fact that that's going to be a problem. You're going to lose that possibly, but you're going to make so much more money because you have to pay for the cost of even buying those other tickets. So you need to make something. You can't be so greedy that you have 8-to-1 ratios and you're saying, well, it's okay to get stopped out of this 8 times. I guess. But having a soft stop. The hard stop is the idea that you risk one trade that you dialed in, and it's 2% of your account on that one trade. Now, if you had a $10,000 account and you're losing $80 per trade, let's say an 8-pip stop, you're in a standard lot, and you're like, oh man, this scalping's a bitch. I got a tight stop, but I got to do this rule because I can't. If they take this low out, it negates the trade, right? So I've got to get out. So I got to get out of this trade, and you took a course that cost $5,000. You went to the Academy of Fucknuttery of Gooberness, and they told you, if you don't do it like this, it's just not kosher. You're gonna go to hell. And everybody, there's a lot of people that are good students. They're like, well, I wouldn't ever want to. I mean, my teacher said that what you're doing is just like, it's worse than child porn, because what you're doing is you're going against the trend, buddy. Can't you see what's going on here? And I just get so pissed off because I don't have the time. I don't have the patience to wait for a setup in the direction of the trend. And even if that was true, you have to ask yourself, as it's coming back to your entry, aren't you just saying, I don't want to ride this train? The other train is, why don't I take the train that comes to my entry? Too much work. I'm stirring my coffee, but gotta have my coffee. So this situation, trying to extract money from these markets, isn't that the point? Some guy says in the level 2 video that I did that he just made this comment. I went and got a degree in surgery to make $300,000 a year. I don't know if he's making $300,000 a year, but he said I went to 8 years of school, I think, to make $300,000 a year. Of course, you got to pay that surgery tuition. So if you've ever lost any money trading, they call it tuition. But it's like anything else, you're always going to lose. You're always wearing tread off your tires. There's nothing you're not getting kicked at some point along the way, right? Everything costs of living, cost of breathing. And he says, oh, instead of staring at charts, I know I could guarantee $300,000 a year being a surgeon. So the the beginning trader, I always wondered, do you like trading or do you just want to make money? Because the gobs of money and you want to have the high-end car because that would make you happy. So you'd think. I kind of like the idea of playing with computers. I mean, for me, I just love the whole technology of it. And I'm not crazy. I wasn't crazy about Dodd-Frank. Like if I was a game stop, and I said bump stop, it's a joke. I hope, but this is wow. And people are at home. It's so funny. They're blaming it on C19. Well, you're at home. You're trading too much. These retail traders, God damn it, we never should let them go home. Look at your fucking. They're blowing out our fucking shorts here. We got more margin calls than. It's hysterical. Well, they didn't think that was going to happen. It's just like, really? How many mortgages do you have floating out there in derivatives? Didn't we see this in 2008? So as there's a Dodd-Frank coming down on these stock, I'm going to laugh my ass off. They did this back in penny stocks. There was so I started trading penny stocks, and it was about I think I was like 20 years old. I'm like, I'm gonna be a stock trader. I remember never forget going to a bank with my buddy to get money to go buy. Went to right Scott Trade, this place called Scott Trade, and I walked in there. I'm like, it was $9 commission. I'm buying this stock, some penny stock and some newsletter, some ridiculous thing. I bought it like, 5 cents a share. I'm like, this is gonna kill it. This when this thing moves, and that's just too much fun, you know. But now we're living in this. Forex seems to be the easiest thing. You can trade so much leverage, and you can just be like, whatever. I mean, no fear of really losing more than's in your account. Um, I used to trade at this place out of the Bahamas, and until they kind of shut me down, or the U.S. government shut them down when they were with guns and took them out. But man, I remember going into the weekend, 1,001 leverage. I'm in two standard lots. I've only got $300 in the account. I mean, if anything goes wrong, you know, and it was in the yen, and the thing gaps opens, or it just opens just down enough, and now I'm in like negative $170, and I'm like, and everything's on chat. There's nobody to talk to on the phone. Occasionally, you could actually get somebody on the phone from one of these brokers. I'm going to talk about 20 brokers, okay? So these people are chatting back. Oh, well, just let us know, and they zeroed the account out. So they take you back to zero. They're eating that trade because you're trading there enough, And what the fuck do they care? And it's like you've traded there, you've spent commission or spread to them, and they just take half that spread as theirs. And why is everybody they're so down on these brokers will charge me? Yeah, when they're commission free, they basically got another liquidity provider. But then when there's a run on that, just like anything else, is so funny because they think, well, it's rigged. Well, no, it's just an accident. It's a train wreck waiting to happen, just like socialized welfare state in the United States. They just hit the switch back to okay, well, everybody just gets a check. Stay home, stay safe, and just atrophy. Stay home, stay safe, and die. And life and trading and safe investments, and this is so risky. I mean, don't you wonder? You have to ask yourself after all this time, all the shit we've seen with the masking and all this, put a mask on. I'm surprised I haven't seen a Forex video that starts in these so cute. These people don't want to get sued or something. They think anybody gives a fuck. They got a disclaimer that this could involve risk and don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. Really, don't drive a car you can't afford to crash. I mean, I guess you get insurance, right? And that's the whole kind of thing about, well, we're going to wait for confirmation on the entry of this trade here because, this is like car insurance, okay? We're going to just take it, slow down. Now, what did I tell you about when you wake up in the morning? Ask yourself, what is your bias? Are you a seller or a buyer? And I'm finding it now that I'm getting to be good at selling, I guess. And here's the problem. When I decided to sell, I was so eager because I had I'm going to start selling now. And it's the same problem when I'm buying. If I scale in too heavy, if I don't wait for that little extra higher high I'm trying to sell into because I'm going against everybody, and my size isn't just right, and I got another trade running in the background, and that's harder to do psychologically because now you're going to start thinking about Forex in terms of, well, how's the dollar doing today? What's the bias on the dollar? And you're going to miss I'm just saying, you'd miss all of those windows of auction that you wouldn't even think there was this going on. This constant ranging on an angle down. You're just like, you mean I can make money from just I didn't think it was possible because I was okay. How many books out there mention the trend, and how many people are saying, well, the trend's your friend? I mean, I did a video on counter trend trading, and even that's kind of debatable because on another time frame, you are in an uptrend. Every time this market turns around for 18 hours, it's in an uptrend. On the 15-minute chart, it's totally got 3 pullbacks. Just buy the pullbacks on the 15. it's easy to say that, but unless you got a tablet in front of you or you got the ticket ready to press the button, and you could talk about 15-minute chart all day long, but unless you're going to sit there and have access to the chart, you're in your car, oh, just pull back in the 50, or you just take the little more market maker approach and hit a button. And I'm going to do the double clicks. I got to get the tablet's got issues already, but when the tablet's running, I'm going to double click that, and I'm going to run it on the same account that I'm running this one that I've made $3,500 on. With market, I made market orders and I made limit orders, no stop entry. So I'm either saying to myself, "Oh, this is a sell," and I'm clicking like a madman. I probably put about 80K into hand clicking. Maybe it's a lot of clicking, and sure, I could run 2Ks on that, but why bother? Because I got so many limits sitting just 2 pips away. If you think the market ain't going to fluctuate 10 pips in the next 10 minutes, that's another question. How do you feel about going into a position? I mean, every time I'm in a position, I'm thinking, we got to get this scalp out of here. We got to get this one price pulse that is in my favor. I got to make up the spread. I got to make up the commissions. And I've even taken that trade off the table because I've got so many limits below me. I'm like, okay, that's the first price pulse. I'm going to take it. And the thing is that I may only make like $25 on that, but I'm also reducing my size back so I can come back and do it again. So I'm playing this game where I'm in 10K, I'm in 50K, I'm in 40K, I'm in 13K, I'm in 28K, I'm in no K. And I'm finding it to be way more money than even the Ryan bot in a perfect world, because his thing is so, and that's the robot I wanted to have to build is, and I think it's doable because it's such a stupid robot. There's not looking at stochastics. It ain't looking at MACD. It ain't doing the checklist of bullshit. It doesn't have 5 fucking factors before entry, before taking a trade. And so they have the 9 ways to be a better idiot. I mean, I know these things exist. But for me, it's always about the money. Am I in too big on this trade? Is my almost, as soon as, even if I got pending limits, I'm like, woof, if they fill that, okay, I just accept it. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I mean, I know exactly what I'm paying for that trade. Somebody said, and people probably still thinking it when they watch my video, they go, well, what if they blow out that order bank? Well, you just lost X. You just lost $380, or you just lost 120, you just lost $80. The first time I traded with tight stops like that, which I'm not a big fan of the tight stop, because I thought at a 3%, at a 3 pip spread, then I have to rebuy that spread. How many K is that going to be? And is it going to really, it does matter, I guess, at some point, but I had an account where I had a tight stop and I had these scripts, and it blew out the one bank. It came down, it hit the other so-called support area. And I had just the right size in there, and it retraced, and the account was up, and it all happened in a blink of an eye. The account was actually stopped out. It was, the news came out, stopped out, and I traded this stuff so many times with real and fake money, and I kind of have a sense of, well, that, and then boom. So it looks like, oh my God, it really is breaking down. Oh my God, it should have been short. They were right about the trend. It is going down. And then the retracement's more vicious and more clean and more even obvious. And if you're, you're waiting for the confirmation, okay, how close are you to the market? If you buy at the market, you're in it. If you put a buy limit 7.5 pips below you, and one that's 7 3/4 below you, you got 2 tickets coming down there. And I'm not saying that the market's going to come down and not fill both of those, But it is true that the market will reach a limit where it turns around. So if you can afford to lay in 180K in a 20 pip window, and some of those have predefined exits that all it has to do is stab that with a wick, come back up a little bit, you're cashed out at 20% of the position. You can sit back like these people talk about, oh, I'm going to break even, try to sit back and just let it go. That's my view. I never run a trailing stop. Hopefully I'm going to be awake and get the fuck out when it comes back into what I perceive to be the logical exit. Regardless if I've got 80 pip targets, I'm taking them off with just 40 pips. I'll take the 40 pips, come back in with the same strategy or the same technique of just putting in limits and just walk away. Because I'm not going to sit there and wait for my fucking indicators to catch up. You could, and you may be that guy. And I thought I could be that guy. I thought that I could wake up in the morning, eat my Wheaties and say, I'm only a buyer today on the pound. Meanwhile, it seems like it's just getting crushed. And don't I have a way to make money from this? So that's the first factor I would blow off this guy's 5 factors to consider before trading. I guess I'm not letting him talk at all. Sorry about that. Hey, mate.
In the 4H time frame, well, here you go, 4H time frame, 30-minute time frame. Euro, New Zealand dollar, a different pair. The market is clearly trending down. When you come to the markets in the morning and you see the structures creating lower lows and lower highs.
And another thing, don't ever point at my chart and wave your finger like that. I'm just saying this guy is just, wow. He's an aggressive coach. Hey, you're in class, buddy. I mean, some of the stuff he's saying is true, but I mean, it's all true. If you can handle trading like this, man, this is where you should start. The guy wanted to know everybody says, like, I know what I'm talking about. All I can tell you is I know what I can withstand psychologically. And if I put a buy limit, to me, it's magic. Okay, I keep saying it. If I put a buy limit 15 pips deep for an hour with a 20 pip stop to make 40 pips, there is a trade right there. It's micro at 1K. It's okay. There's one. All right. Got any other ideas? I don't feel any kind of stress about that trade. Well, my next idea, let's put a bank down there. Let's just cover a 20 pip window for 8 hours and just see what happens. If somebody might stop by and they might buy, they might like that price too. I don't have any bias about it. I don't care if you're coming down there just to rape it with a wick or you're going to crash through and try to blow me out. You're going to try to stop me out, you stop hunters. And this is the thing. I just don't care. And I think this is the goal. At least Mark Douglas will tell you. You just got to get to where you just don't give a fuck. If you give a fuck, then you're just too focused on the setup and the thing and the put and what's the trend.
Your plan should be to sell only.
See, and he's on a 4-hour chart because I think I saw the zoom in of this, and I can't live like that, man. I cannot sit there and go, and I tried it. I did. I had the 13 EMA, this is what Alexander Elder, and I took his class and I met him and we went through all this stuff. And back then you couldn't do it. The technology now, look at this bump stop shit. This is hysterical. I can't wait till Monday. It'll be Black Monday for these fucking hedge funds. But then again, look at that pullback on. I don't know if I talked about did a video yet about Bitcoin. How you like Bitcoin? Popped I think $6,000 up, $6,000 down. Boom. They cleaned out all of those rooftops on the 4-hour chart of the Bitcoin. Rooftops, I mean the wicks, the top of the bars going back in the supply zones. Looking back into, and another thing, market profile. I had, this bullshit. Level 2, it's all bullshit if you don't have a trade plan. At least this guy knows he wants to sell, right? Would you sell here? I guess I could keep tanking, but this is the idea that you would just step in right now and sell. I'll only look to sell. Don't wag your finger at my LG chart monitor, please.
Period. Remove any other thought process that you may have, any other hurdles, obstacles, anything that you may be facing in that brain of yours, and just focus on sales. Because if
that brain of yours. Don't talk down to my brain of mine.
If the market is down, you're more likely to win your trades or have a higher probability of winning your trades working with this downtrend and selling only. Because if you buy it, guess what you're going to say later on? Oh, guess what? The market was down and I knew I shouldn't have bought it, but I did because it looked like a buy, but now I look at it again, it's a sell.
This is the binary one-ticket trading plan where I'm going to buy, I'm going to sell, I'm going to buy, I'm going to sell. If you've got a rack of limits above and below this, what do you care? Now, I am getting out of the market. When I see they tag a bunch of tickets and I'm like, oh, that's great. Look at, I just find myself in a short trade now. Whereas before, I would actually think like this guy. And so now I'm making more money because I'm just saying, you know what? I mean, there's sellers up there. You can tell me all about trends, trend lines. There's sellers above us. There's buyers below us. There's level 2 sellers above us. What can we do about it? And I'm going to do something about it. I'm sick and tired. So I am running these. So even at the very close of Friday, I put on a trade that was an hour. I walked up to the post office. I'm looking at this thing on my phone. I'm looking, look at this little cute little trade here. I just put this. Now, psychologically, I couldn't believe it because I'm like, yeah, look at that. They did take it up there. And this is the if-then statement taken to like the granularity of 200, 500K. Oh, what if they take it up? Okay, well, if they go up and tag 75K and it pulls back and you just made $75 on a 10-pip move on the pound, is that a problem? Well, you know, I didn't see the engulf on the 5-minute and I didn't have a... Really? Look at the chart. All these trades are available. Oh, I know, but my mentor says, and...
You don't want that. Remove it. The final example of the first step that we need to be focusing on in formulating a plan or constructing a plan
let me get the full.
Is identifying ranges. If you cannot look at the charts from a 10-year-old's perspective and identify immediately a trend that's either up or down, then guess what? Identify it as a range with no directional bias and stay out. Don't
80% of the market's ranging. Do not stay out of these range trades. I'm telling you, if you're a person that has the ability to get in front of your charts, if you've got even, well, you can set the trades up before. You can, like I said, you could just literally buy 20 pips deep and just see what happens. There was this guy I met that was, I don't know if he was autistic, but we were in this big chat room on Skype. It was about 4 years ago. And this guy, he was really having a hard time trading because I think he just didn't feel the confidence. Like, he's like, am I really a trader? I'm like, everybody's a trader. I mean, you're trading every day, right? You're choosing to watch this guy do his thing. Everybody's making a choice. And I said to him, would you have a problem putting a buy limit down, like, for 50 pips, not even a time expiration on it? He's like, no. Now, if you asked anybody else in that room that was supposedly experienced trader, they'd be like, well, can I see the Fibonacci levels first, at least? And so this kind of like beginner's mind, or just it's okay to do that stuff. And there's our people that ended up trading, making money just on their gut. And it looks like it's a little overbought to me. And they don't care if they lose money, and maybe they make it back. They're just made it through this stuff. But lately, if you're trying to short Bitcoin at 20,000, thinking, oh, well, that seems to be the top. Okay. Well, where's your stop on that? Or you're buying it for, I get if you wouldn't get hurt if you're buying it, but if you're shorting into it, you probably do a margin, right? So you have to find a broker that's going to let you short Bitcoin. And maybe they were hunting down, what's his name? Peter Schiff on that one. Peter Schiff's got a lawsuit against Bitcoin now. But I've watched this for years. I mean, I studied, and I'm just like the news. Fundamentally, yeah, we should have a problem with the stock market now, with the socialist agenda. But hey, apparently that's how the stuff is running. It seems to be okay. So, but stocks definitely, like I said, they crushed the stocks on And I think it's going to drip down now. I think it is the tippy top. 4 years of a bull market, because at the helm you have this guy that's saying, you know what? Let's open this thing up and let's just fucking live. And the Democrats are like, yeah, but you know, the earth is kind of like in trouble. I've been saying that for, oh my God, the EPA, for God's sakes. You know, you can't even own your own land with the liberals. You couldn't, if you found gold on your own land, they would take it from you.
Fight the markets. Don't be the brains behind the first person who can enter a trade and say, well, it's making lower highs and lower lows. If it's not breaking structural highs and it's not breaking structural lows, guess what? Get out the markets.
That is just the dumbest shit I've ever heard. But I mean, you know, this guy, take a looky poo. This guy's probably he's got 93,000 views. He just published this. This was a suggestion that came up. This is not the most recent thing, but, and just, you gotta take a look at the, his commentary down here. The people that, this was extremely helpful. You know, the comment, this is why a lot of people lose. Oh, people have put their spam up here too. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Yeah, this is all bullshit talking points. If you know your way around finance, you know better than to panic regardless of the fact that there's some cut and paste this shit from some investments with, okay, so this is some obviously, and come trade with us. This man is giving super valuable gold nuggets. Is he? Good Lord. Give me a break. People, and you know, the people that would see this video, so I would do stuff on these other people, this PTC guy and all these people. And one time, the guy sent me this nasty email going, one of my students found out you were talking about me. I've been alerted. And I'm sending the YouTube police after you. Dude. Oh my God. Tell somebody who gives a fuck. And then ICT tried to shut me down. Because I was a cop every time. Nice guy. It's just so funny, dude. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, can I look at that Dominion machine? Oh, absolutely not. Nothing to see here. I'm a mentor. That's a job, though. I wouldn't want to do it. So, kudos, right? Oh, well. So, yeah, you know. So this video, Alan, is enough to change someone's trading style. What, from making money? It's more like a podcast to me. I could listen without the visuals, still inspired. He's a champ. He is a champ. I'm sorry. You know, I mean, I'm sure the guy means well and all that. And these sound like logical ideas, but I'm telling you, I'm not finding it to be very helpful for making money trading. I just like the energy. Yeah, I like the energy. You know, he's got energy. You know, that's the thing. People are attracted to the energy and the vibe, and he's talking about the market, and that's good. And look, it's endless. Of course, I'm getting a lot of suggestions from his thing. Endless. All right, take a look. I don't know if we're going to make it through the whole video, but I get all the 5 points here, and I kind of want to speed them up. So let me go for the hyper learning. This is like speed reading for. He seems like he talks fast enough. I can't go full 2x maybe. Let's test him out here at 175.
So that's the first part of your plan. Identify the direction of bias. If it's up, you're buying. If it's down, you're selling. And if it's moving sideways, you're doing nothing. Pretty simple. Put it in a notepad. Remember this point.
And like I said, 80% of the market is going sideways. Never forget that. It's a real truth. Look at it. Even look at that chart of his. Do you see how sideways, and then big move? This happens. And then I suppose he happened on a short train and he took a chunk out of that. Well, big deal. Ridiculous.
All lows. Guess what? Get out the markets. So that's the first part of your plan. Identify the direction of bias. If it's up, you're buying. If it's down, you're selling. And if it's moving sideways, you're doing nothing.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Put it in a notepad. Remember this
I'm
point.
listening now.
So for the second point is marking your key levels. You want to make sure that you're marking your major level, your intermediate levels, and then your target levels. So we're going to look at an example right now on New Zealand dollar JPY on the 30-minute time frame.
And I would say to that, put an order at each one of those levels. Put an order, all the key levels, just put an order there. If it's such a key level, you marked it, well, put your fucking limit in already. Stop it with this, oh, well, I'm going to wait for a specific pattern. Oh, all right, buddy. Yeah, wait till Dow Jones open and they wick you out at your 2% bullshit entry stop.
First part of the planning was identifying the structure of the market. This is clearly making higher highs and higher lows. So what are we doing with this example? Well, we're buying this structure, or we're buying when we get an opportunity. Now, in terms of key levels, what's your major key level? Well, if you're buying in an uptrend, your major key levels are always going to be your higher lows. Why? Well, in an uptrend, as we saw recently, if the market is making higher highs and higher lows, then after a higher low, we expect a higher high. Only until the major higher low is broken are we anticipating or potentially waiting for the trend to change here. So as long as the market is respecting this structure, it is not being broken, then we are still looking for buys.
Well, buy it now. Jesus Christ. What time frame is this? 30-minute chart. Jesus Christ. Come on, people. Yeah, you know what? You bought. So here's the trade on 30-minute chart, and you got to have you got to have your finger on the trigger for this shit. This is another thing. You just can't take advantage of the half-hour chart to look at this and not take advantage, do a trade on here. So it would look like this, would it not? You got your finger on the trigger. You get a bullish candle here. Sell at the market on the half hour. It's up. You got to stop here. That would be the best trade in the world. I couldn't do that. I could do that trade. But I've got sell limits above here. I'm already short. Because I saw this structure. This structure here. Like, who gives a fuck now? Obviously. These guys that sold, they're out. Then here comes the buyers in this fresh zone for this auction. Bing, bing, bong, bong. Half hour sell every half hour it's up. If it's coming back off of this, you could put your 10-period moving average on that and call out a trend, then a downtrend. Let's see what this guy's thinking. And it's just obvious once you go through the checklist here of what he's saying, how to just wipe out what he's saying, because let me get a different color. Which trend are we talking about here? Look at this entry. Oh, that's premium. You got your buy limit bank in here. You tag one, and even at the market trading. So if you did have a way to execute, you got a buy limit that starts here. My buy limits start here, but I'd have way more buy limits here. See, this is the feeding zone. There's a supply. Sure, you could do this trade. Pull that trigger on the half hour. Comes the top, becomes the bottom. Bang. Get in. Stops here. That's a lot of work. And you got to trade big on that ticket. But why? Why do all that? When it's down here, what I'm doing now, sell limits. I'm already short. And if I see on the half hour, okay, I sell a couple at the market there. There's my confirmation. But I've already gobbled up. And I know that there's longs. So the guy that says, where do I start trading? I'd say right here. What I'm saying here, I'm saying accept the fact that the market's going to move. It's not going to turn on a tenth of a pip time and make you money. If you're willing to put a buy limit here at the feeding zone where everybody's stops are, the stop hunt is that. Is it not? 'Tis it not. You are long. You are an uptrend. You are a trend trader. Where is your trailing stop? 30-minute chart. If I'm talking about a wide stop on this, a wide stop, tighter stop. You're actually risking, if you buy all 1Ks on the way down. But if you were to martingale in, you buy a 1K, a 2K, a 3K, a 4K, a 5K. This trade And if you're the patient person, this is a half-hour chart. If you can wait for them to engulf, this is the engulf. We start here, we take out that high. It's that simple. On the it's probably a weekly engulf or a daily engulf right here. I don't have to go to the daily chart. I can already see even this one. So all these auctions are happening in the process of this guy waiting for a trade. It's just silly. You don't have to do this anymore. What he's doing is so archaic. In a world where I can drop, I could press a button on my tablet, this half-hour chart, 8 hours, it's going to put in maybe $50 of risk to make $150 if I let the whole trade play out. But all the scripts, I posted them on the link every time I do a video, and I'm just putting the master link in there. You got to rifle through it. Somebody asked about the template or the setup. Okay, the template I'm running is when you load the templates, it'll be the first one. It's typically the indicators I'm using is a 1 period moving average, and instead of having candles, I just have a big black bar. A big black bars matter. I've got a range bar. I don't care about the open. I do not care about the opening of the candle. Another reason why I hate candlestick trading. Well, you know, this thing opened, it went down. So what? I can't trade that. I don't give a fuck about the hammers. I want to be the hammer. I want to make the wick money. Like, wicks matter. And the half-hour chart, yeah, if you were to sell every rally, and I know this is really going to go against people's normal thinking about this stuff. This isn't an uptrend. For me, I got sell limits above here, above that wick. I got sell limits above here. And I could actually start selling once it gets into my limit window. I'm adding on markets orders, sell. Every half hour, sell. Sell, 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 sell. If I'm here to babysit it. But why? Why kill yourself? If you had sell limits above this and they tag it and then they bag it, and almost an engulf here. I'm sorry, I'm so pissed off, but it's only when the more I figure it out, the more watching this is like inverted learning. I'm looking at this guy going, yeah, bless your heart. You know, you're a nice guy. You know, obviously he shaved and everything, put clothes on for the video. And nice guy, you know, works out. All the other things that traders talk about. Well, get up in the morning, I do like 100 push-ups, then I look at the charts, then I do another 100 push-ups, then I look at the charts. I'm a very consistent trader. All these talking points. Well, I'm consistent and I'm disciplined. Yeah, I beat myself. And so I'm just finding it to be completely hilarious. I remember trading once. I was talking to somebody, had the tablet running, and I was testing out some new scripts. And I'm talking to this guy. I'm looking down on the market. The market's out of control. But I'm like, I got faith in this system I'm running. So it's having the confidence and faith. Would you really put money into these trades you're talking about? Oh, yeah. So the proof is I'm doing it. And this thing about slippage and stop hunts, it's just ridiculous. I am hunting your stops, I guess, with limits. I mean, I'm setting traps. And right now, here on this thing, I bought here. I bought at the market right there on that down candle, and I got limits all the way down here. It just wouldn't matter. Now, if I know that I've got this big pile, then I'm buying tons down here. If we ever made it here, but this is a half-hour chart, unless we get a run like this, and even in that, there's a chance to get on the short train. Get on the short train. Every rally on a half hour, in other words, every move. That's why the robot I'm talking about. You kind of have to, this is why you can't just let a robot come in and buy it. But if it had a limit, if the market is up X, I'm going to sell with a stop here. Now, would it got stopped out? But it's up again. It sells with a tighter stop. So you can't even do that. You can't tell a robot that. But what you could do is say, I know that this robot is going to risk $5 on this ticket, and the stop's here, right? It sells, it sells, it sells, it sells. And when it comes back below here, it does have a bad ratio, and that's why. Another thing is you got to have bad ratios. These are all the things that are so against what everybody's. I guess that's why ICT's there, because he's saying what I'm saying in the sense that it's all bullshit for those kind of rules. It's just a joke. It means nothing, because I always look at these moves and I go, man, why can't I get on this train early? Why do I have to wait for these dumb shit goober entries that people are talking about? Well, I just watched another one with this guy talking about breakout confirmation. I described that in real time with real and fake money on Friday. So this, breakout, pull back to here and get in. Yeah, I get that does happen sometimes, but it didn't happen here, did it? Broke out of here by the pullback to the breakout. Well, they just crushed you. I can show a failure of every one of those theories. Here's the resistance. Breakout, pullback. Okay, guys, let's get on the long train. Wah, wah, wah. What? Now, my mentor, yeah, your mentor. Be your own mentor. Just what happened to everybody? Oh my God, what happened to I hate Paul Tudor Jones. Just complete fucking mind blown. When people start making $1 million, $1 billion, they turn into the biggest fucking idiots. They have no respect for people that, the guy that works on your car. I don't know if I talked to the guy who worked on my car. I've had a bunch of cars. And this guy, I go up there and I'm like, hey man, like this and that. And I'm like, asking him all these questions. I'm always trying to learn something. And the guy says to me, hey, he's deaf. I'm like, oh, okay. Got you there. And, but he was like a guru. This guy, this is deep in the city. This guy is like out of a movie. Like you couldn't even get casting. You couldn't get makeup like this. This is a real thing. The guy is completely big beard and he's deaf. And he's just like, he can just look at your car and know what's wrong with it, But, and the guruism, right? The people want a guy that can look at the chart and go, yeah, obviously it's a buy here, And to take advantage of these kind of chaotic moves in range trade, it's just too much fun because you got to free yourself from this fucking waiting for the setup. I don't know. It is a setup right now. In fact, I can already tell you my other trade right now in this chart, giving away a lot of secrets here. I hope it's not going to go against me. I'm selling above this. I'm selling above that. I'm selling above that. I'm selling above that. Who isn't? Look at this wick. Now, if I would have had the limits in here, this was enough. If I had a 20 pip target here, I don't know if I do. You see this wick? You can barely see it. Tag and bag that trade. Sell here into the fucking. It's a gold mine on the half power. If you'd be a very high frequency trader, you're selling into previous support. For this, is this enough money for you? That's the other thing. Which trade are you doing? Are you selling here and you're going to hold this puppy till it takes out this and go, okay, I'm out. Good fucking trade. Or are you the guy that's selling you're actually adding to the position? Your exit doors. You got buy limits down here, and that's what I'm doing now. I got sell limits up here. I got buy limits down here. And when they fill me and I see them up and I see that they're invading this and that moves over, I'm out. I got it. In fact, it's like I'm letting the market come to me. And once it comes to me, I know they pick me up. I got to get out. Otherwise, I can't just walk away. You can't just set all these limits and think they're going to hit your targets perfectly. So I have the 8 pip target. I've got the 12. And so I'm making this new series that's going to be 8 pip windows with a 3K. Now it sounds like only a 3K. Trust and believe. 3 drops is a 9K. In a key zone with a high probability of winning. So if I put in, and I'm just going to assume the width of this marker is 8 pips. I got a one there. I got one overlapping, and I got a whole basket down here. And when they come in and they hit it, I know I've got one ticket's going to get out here at least, if not 20. Take that 20K off. And if this is another thing I'm going to do, if I see that my targets are flashing, I'm going to move them up to here, or I'll turn on the. So in MetaTrader, when you set it up, be careful because the default is that if you start drawing objects and trend lines on your charts and you have a bunch of tickets like I do, you're going to start moving pendings that haven't filled and moving targets and stops. And you'll hear the door slam. You immediately got to go up and turn off. You got to have it so you get on the charts under options under charts. You got to hit the tab that says turn the Alt key. Use Alt key to move orders. This will keep you from fucking up the trade or fucking up all your pendings and stuff. So, this, if I see that they're coming to here and I'm like, okay, no, well, that's my target and I'm up and I want to get out. Dow Jones is going to open, or I want to go back to sleep, whatever. Or maybe I do let it go. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Now, this is the other psychological burden is that even if I'm only in like 10K, I just want to get out. I don't really want to sit there, even at that. I don't want to go through this whole like, and I never want to, anybody can look back in the chart and go, if you would have held that trade, you can see how, look how it went all the way down. And you could say the same thing if I would have pulled the trigger and sold on the half hour and babysat this. I could have pyramided into this, but you paint yourself into a corner. And sure, this isn't a downtrend, but is it just me or is this ranging? Now, these are different kinds of ranges, but if your target's built for that, you're going to make so much money. Look at this top-bottom, kind of a top-bottom staircase. See, it's overshooting. So you can't put a limit here and go, well, top-bottom theory is not working. Yeah, because it's just it's pounding so hard that your limits are going to make money. It's better to be a trailing limit guy that's going to stop hunt the trend traders. You're counter trend trading entering at that point too. And that's the trick, I think. You got buy limits pending here. Buy limits pending. Sure, you're going to buy when it's screaming down into maybe your moving average here. And this is a perfect example of why people say, I've got a system, and when it's giving me signals, I'm getting in on this moving average. That's wonderful. But don't forget, there's somebody over there that has a grid of limits, and they're selling like crazy, and they're not babysitting the chart. And when it comes at the end of the day, we're back down here. They cash out of that whole bank, and they're like, I just made money too. Right? You can be the hero, or I guess how you see yourself. What style of trader are you? This guy said he just changed this guy's trading style. If that's a good or bad thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Come on, man. You know the thing. You know the thing. This is the world we're under now. You know the thing.
The only time we're not is when the market breaks the structure. So when the market comes back to our major key level, which is this one here, we then have to wait for evidence and confirmation of the market showing or giving us a sign to take a trade. What do we have?
Why? I'm not waiting. Fuck you. I'm in. I'm already long. Well, stop me out. Oh, of my 1K or my 48K? Oh, I just lost $28. Oof. What am I going to do?
Here, well, we have price creating multiple wick rejections indicating bullish sentiment. We also have wick rejections here indicating bullish sentiment.
Indicating bullish sentiment. It's all about the sentiment. Trust me, if this is the pound, it's not. It's New Zealand dollar. Which it doesn't make too many raping moves like that. Although look at the left, what am I talking about? I'm sure you have bullish sentiment there on the left side chart. Hey, buddy. And at least he doesn't have a moving average on there. I'll give him that.
Now we need an intermediate level. Our intermediate level is always going to be a level in the market where prices create some sort of resistance. When I say resistance, I don't mean resistance, let's sell in the market. I just mean resistance period where you see multiple wick rejections. Why is this important? Well, we'll get onto that in a minute. The final level that you need to be looking for is your target level. Why? Well, everybody needs a target. If you take a trade blindly and you
Everybody needs a goal. Mine is not to get more pissed off than I already am.
don't have any direction of what risk reward ratio you're using, when you're going to take your profits, how you're going to manage your trades, this will help you. Okay? So you have your major level, your intermediate level, which we're going to talk
Okay. Those are all my settlements, by the way. I think when you identify these levels, put an order in. Walk away. Nothing. That's another thing. Spent $5,000 with Andrew Cardwell learning RSI, and I could show you RSI all day long, but you still have to have the balls to trade it. He said nothing you do is going to change that trade. And I thought, well, what if I watch the chart? You mean if I stare at the chart, it won't change the outcome of that?
About in a minute, and then your target level. So now the market's come back to a key level. We see the wick projections here. We're going to take the trade. This is an example, so don't start putting messages underneath this video and be like, oh, Rox, you made replay mode. I'm not interested. Just take some of the principles and concepts that I'm illustrating here so that you can use it in your own trading. Wick projections at a key level. Structure is up. We have evidence and confirmation. Now we're taking the trade at the break of the structure with a buy stop order. Why is the intermediate level important? Because we need to see if we can get to break even by 1-to-1.
Did he just buy it? Or is that his pending? He's about to stop above?
Okay, by the time the market moves 10 pips, we need to make sure we can get our trade to break even. Remove the risk and let the trade play out. Now, do we have a 1-to-1 back to this intermediate level? Absolutely. We're good to take the trade. The trend is up. Are we good to buy it? Absolutely.
Oh,
the next point will come after. We should have probably come before, but let's focus on this now. And then we have the
first time through the video.
targets. We're going for 1-to-3 as part of my strategy. Are we going to be able to hit our targets before we find some sort of resistance at this major key level?
One ticket.
Target level.
1,000%.
What do we do? We take the trade and then we see what happens. Okay? This is what we call Bob is your uncle. We plan the trade, we identify the structure, we see how the market is moving, and there you go.
See, beautiful. Okay, now here.
What do we do?
That just proved me right. So I'm already in this trade. And I'm underwater on some of the tickets. And I'm scaling in. So I went long here. Everybody's aware of this pivot structure. And I went long here. Not at the market. I'm just getting filled on limits. But I know that when it went down here, and if I'm going to martingale into that, and like I said, I got buy limits down here. I'm ready for the end of the world. I'm expecting another GameStop. And when this thing starts to, the volatility, it's going to be crazy, right? So that, I just like, my exits here, my sell limit, and right there, that wick went to there. So I'm actually cashing out and probably going the other way on some of these, but I'm already long. And when I see this, I'm probably cashing out of the whole position because even this trade's a winner. But I can make a lot of money here right to that floor. That would be the logical, but like I said, this is, the sellers have taken this ride to here. And this is a range trade, right? Seller and then a buyer. So the range trading wins. And yeah, you could say it's an uptrend, but like, look at these sells. Are you kidding me? This is probably the best trade here. You sell there on a limit off that key level. It rips back. I mean, the nice thing is range trading frees you from this silliness about trend because it's all about time frame on the trend. Is it not? It's like, well, what time frame? Oh yeah, on the 4 hour it's a sell. On the 3 hour it's a buy. Even that, well, no, more like a 15 minutes a buy, the 4 hours a sell. And if you see the other guy's trade there.
We identify the structure, step 1. We marked our key
level. That was a scalp right there.
Step 2. As you can clearly see here, with this example, this is how you want to do it. Major key level, intermediate level, make sure you can get to break even and manage that trade, and finally target levels, as you can clearly see here. So we've discussed.
And the break even thing, okay? So he should have traded really heavy. He should have scaled out on the way to that target, in my opinion. I mean, that's one single shot trade. You got one bullet in your gun. I don't know, this is a lot of work. But like I said, it's the academy of trading.
Last 2 points already. Identify the structure bias of the market. Second, mark your key levels. Now third, identify the phases of the market. Now these are, in my opinion, the holy grail rules of Forex trading. Now, if you're not familiar with it, then you're going to get familiar with it now. But there's a few rules we must stick to as traders. We know how an uptrend moves, high highs and high lows. We know how a downtrend.
But this is the phases is the Wyckoff, and this is very complicated. And at that point, I would take a 5-minute chart and do Wyckoff on a 5-minute chart if I'm trading a 4 hour. What I perceive to be the filling of a vacuum or a void in the market where the prices are, it's going into fresh prices, or it's jumping the creek in the scenario of like the reversal of a Wyckoff is it's underneath the floor, it's trapped, then it jumps the creek, then it goes in and they mark it up. and then it goes sideways and they remark it up. So the consolidation point, the resting point, the doji, and then there's a continuation. Then it rests, then it continues, then it rests. Yeah, that matters. And if you're sitting back so if you're on the 5-minute chart and you see these structures, they sit in context better on the 4-hour chart, and you can stay in a trade because you can see what's going on there with this market phases. Okay, this is going to be the accumulation phase at 3 o'clock in the morning on the pound, trapped under the floor on the 4-hour. Yeah, that, I guess, right? And at that point, if I'm looking at it like that, I'm going to be pulling the trigger every time it dips. Every time time just goes by. Like, so every half hour I'm buying, whether it's up or down, because I'm in that sweet spot. I'm going to build the position bigger because I can see the phase, and that would be another reason to just keep notching it up. Maybe you're in 300K. Maybe you're in, and you're like, this thing's going to move. And when the news comes out or moves into the news, I'm out. So I'm trying to make money, and I'm trying to reduce my risk so it's incremental. The granularity is the key for me. It's not the waiting for this key level and all these things to set up.
Trend moves, low lows, lower highs. We know how a range moves, sideways. But when should we buy and when should we sell? Well, here we have the examples of when we should do that. First example is a downtrend. We never want to sell the market when the market is in a push phase. Why? Well, even though the market is moving down, and we may get signs of wick rejections and engulfing candles and strong momentum to the downside, we always run into or may face the issue of price pulling back. So if we enter in a push phase, what could happen is when we plan to sell the market, no matter what evidence or what confirmation you get, there is a very high chance that the market will pull back.
So he just went against his trend trading. This isn't an uptrend. Never buy in a push phase. Or, I guess this is the push phase, that last price balls. But see, this is where you'd be building a short position. Now here you could build a short position too. So the do nothing is bullshit here. You could keep selling here, sell every time it's banging on there, or buy, anticipating the breakout ahead of time. Breaks out. You're already out of some of these tickets, I hope.
How do you eliminate this? Well, when you identify the market has made a lower high and already has broken the previous low and extended itself beyond the previous structural low, that's a sign to stay out. Wait for the market to breathe, as I want to call it. Wait for it to exhaust and then look to take the trade. Once the market has exhausted from the push phase, that's when you can start looking for trades. Why? Well, after a push phase, we have an exhaustion phase. And after the exhaustion phase, we then, in theory, have a continued push phase. That's the same with the buy structure. If the market is trending up, we know we're looking for buys, but we don't want to buy in a push phase because there is a very high chance that the market, when trying to buy, will eventually do what? Exhaust. Now remember, with our key levels, as long as the market trades above the previous higher low, we're still good for buys. And you don't.
So that's another thing, chasing the market. And this is another example of it's the technique more than the anything else. If I have trailing buy limits here, I keep getting picked up. Every time it sells off, so I put buy limits in here. I get long. It breaks above, I cash out. It's kind of like going short, or I could sell that. I could sell the new highs and trade this because it's about how many pips am I going to try to make on that. I could sell this bottom, become a top there, and or I put the sell limits in here, let them pick me up, start cashing out below that, and I want to just get into that nice trade that whole move, really. And so having the ability to get the tickets in there on time when the half-hour updates. That's the one certainty I do know in life. At the end of a half an hour, the market's down in an uptrend. It's structurally sound because we haven't get into enough limits yet. And what time of day is it? Start buying at the market every half hour is down. The simplest, cleanest trade in the world. And like I said, I wouldn't trade more than 20% of the market. And I would go in heavy at the market if I see that I'm not in any limits at all. I'm like, okay, we just got to get on this train. It's going back the other way. It's not a breakout, it's a fake out. Let's go the other way on this thing. Let's make some money. Why wait? You know the thing.
I want to be in a position with those excuses that we hear out there. Oh, the market makers took me out. Oh, it was a stop loss hunt. Oh, that was my broker. Get out of here. I'm teaching you the rules of trading right now. These are all you need to know.
And that is the entry. That stop hunt is my entry. I think it's so cute when people are like, oh, they stop hunting me. I'm like, that you just missed your entry.
If the market's in a push phase, wait for the exhaustion. I couldn't care less, and you shouldn't care less, respectfully saying, if the market exhausts and you think it's exhaustion, as long as it looks like the exhaustion, and you take the trade and it loses, then guess what? It was a banging trade. But if you're taking a trade in a push phase, then
it was banging, man. It's a very banging trade.
Donut. Now, when do we want to buy and when do we want to sell? Well, we just said it here, to be honest with you. But if the trend is down, we're looking for sells, and we only want to sell once the market has exhausted or pulled back, because based on past history, and always remember this, without history, there's no future. If the market has pulled back,
without the history, there's no future.
Created,
I guess,
a structure or create structure in the market. What can we expect? Well, we can suspect that the market will then eventually create a new lower high. And if we're taking our trade in an exhaustion phase, we can suspect a continuation as part of the downtrend. Same applies to buys here. If the market is in an uptrend, we know we're looking for buys as part of an uptrend.
Do we get to see this guy to put these trades on? Was he trading 5 standard lots on that fucking entry? Jesus Christ, I can't take it. Let me go to his next point.
That is going to change your life here. I'm trying to illustrate a point. Once you've identified the direction, break structure, indicating a potential reversal, I'm not taking a double bottom as part of a downtrend. I will only take a triple bottom as part of a downtrend reversal into a buy bias market, because then I have 3 confluences. A level created, price making the lower high, failing to make the lower low, failing the double top, making the triple bottom, 3 confluences, buy. Same with triple tops.
See, this is all one ticket entry technique. Wait for confirmation, double top, take the third one. Up to, fuck that. I'm buying that shit right there. I'm cashing out. I'm already making money during this noise phase. Sorry. I mean, if this is 20 pips up and down, I want to trade that. That. If we get more than 20 pips of movement in any instrument, to me it's tradable, because I can have a 10 pip stop, which is very tight. I wouldn't run everything on 10 pip stop. But if we see the market going in a 40 pip range, I can run 20 pip stops and make 40 pips all day long. And if I see a market that moves 30 to 60 pips, the counter trend move is 30 pips, or the range is 40 pips or 50 pip range. I'm running 18 pip stops. So I just made my new system up like it's okay. 13 pip stops, and it's like a 10 pip stop. 13, and go in increments of a dollar amount after that. So I'm just going to go to the next, probably add 8 pips to every ticket. So putting a focused order in, I think the 8 pip range is pretty fair. It's in just the right amount of slop. Well, of course, you might want to be more precise and just put single tickets in. I do have a rack of singles I wrote where it's kind of a little more tedious. There's single drops, literally. I mean, I wrote about 80 of these things. Unique stops. But if you really want to reduce your risk, you trade with single drops. And instead of staring at the charts all day, you just keep putting 1Ks in here, just get a cluster going. Market comes down, and it's going to cash out. Now, yeah, this big kahuna move, sure. But if you can make money during this, 20 pips, and you keep on padding your account with baby prop, you make $100 in the morning, $150 in the morning, and here comes the kahuna $400 move. You can afford to sit back and let that go. The phase of this would be marked down, and then doji, and then a measured move. All these patterns he has here that are simple, because he's only able to trade 1 ticket at a time. He's looking at this as the setup for his 1 ticket entry. I'm looking at this as all tradable. It's all tradable. It just is. I mean, sure, this is the ultimate. I got it. When you see this and you're going to sell, but have we ever seen that negated? Right? We've ever seen that happen? Just look at any chart and picture yourself in the trade. This is the hardest thing to do. So just open a demo account. If you're a beginner trader, that guy sees a beginner, where do I start? He goes, I don't know how to trade. So I was trading commodities before Forex, and I didn't know how to trade Forex. I mean, I had a Forex account, FXCM, like this guy. The first account I had, $100,000 in it. At that time, the British pound's crashing like a horse, like 9 years ago. And I'm like, I'm buying this. And I didn't know what a standard lot was. I didn't know. I mean, the platform had had an entry where I could just buy at the market, you know. So I did. Over and over again, I just kept pulling the trigger. Buy, right? So I blew up this account, $100,000. I blew it up in like, I think 4 hours. Look at this. I got available margin. I just kept buying. So I blew up the account 5 times in 3 days. Of course, I never really. Now the pound at this point is dropping 200 pips a day, mind you, and I don't know what a pip is. Like I never saw forex. I mean, I just didn't know the fuck is this. And then it wasn't more than 2 years after that that they're like, well, you just can't trade anymore like that. So this is around 2008, 8-ish. So it was like 2007, 2006, and boy, the market crashes. And the Canadian dollar is higher than the American dollar. So the American dollar is like 95 cents. And stocks are plummeted, and it's just crazy world. And so now it's like, you know, we've got the ability to trade this stuff without torturing ourselves about, I don't know, just I can see your trend trade there, but you got to reduce the importance on decisions here by using a bunch of tiny tickets. I mean, this is how the guy got the Nobel Peace Prize when I guess it used to mean something. And that was like 10 years ago, I think. He had micro loans. Okay, he'd do loans for $50 to people in a third world country. This guy made so much fucking money. Hey, here's $5 interest, or maybe they didn't pay it back, but the people that did, $50 loans, so you can start your own little basket weaving company. But it's, you know, there's a lot of power. Look at all these traders online just buying a little bit of stock there. Some guys are going in hog long, probably taking their Bitcoin profits and loading it into. They're becoming weaponized traders, you know.
Now, these patterns might not be for you. As I said, some of you are into some of these really fruity patterns.
Fruity patterns? How dare you?
Some of you into some of these simple patterns, but for me, I'm a simple pattern person, trader. And you need to identify 1, 2, or 3 patterns you're going to work with. I promise you. You may not be taking as much trades as you want now, but I can promise you.
And I said freedom.
Do one thing. You will become more consistent with your results and the outcome of your trades. You will allow the numbers to play out, and trust me, things will change. So, structure, key levels, phases in the market, and patterns. Okay?
That's 4. Where's number 5?
So there's 4 there, and for the final one, it's an accumulation of the 3. So let's take a look at my pound JPY trade that I took yesterday, and let's focus on the 5 points that we just discussed.
Brace yourself.
So the first thing we want to do here when planning this trade is identify the direction of the market. Now, granted, looking at GJ is not the clearest of trends here, but with experience, you'll start to identify how to identify trends on high time frames, and then...
Okay, like I said, I'd already be short on that. Because I could see this high. So I put a sell limit there for sure. But once again, I'm aggressive. I'm going to start selling here in limits. This trade is up right now. If the stop for this was here, it got stopped out. But if the stop over here is here, that's why the bad ratios. I sell, my first sell here is 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K, 50K, 80K. Comes back, I'm out. This is the 4-hour chart. Okay, wait a second. This is a little different. This 4-hour chart, I'm probably out. Once we get below there. Man, is this a gap open on a Sunday here? So look at this. Now here's where you're going to need a 40 pip stop, I think. I can't see how many pips I'm looking at here. So this British pound. So this could be easily 80 pips here. Wow. Never underestimate the plunge here. There's another one. This is very vicious British pound. Moving about 2 to 3 times as much as the euro. Same thing with the euro versus the yen. Big movers. Here I got the buy limits below. Here I would know that all week long here. Probably bought at the market here. We're coming back to this top, become a bottom in a way. But it's the scaling in and out. And there's so much money to be made from range trading this. Seriously, is this not a lot of money? Is this really kind of like trendless, noisy? Is that not just the best money in the world? And you can't see the wicks very well. That's why I went with the bar template. I just, so I found out, maybe I could post the bar as a comment because it's hard to find. This, you can change the thickness of the bars, but it's just like I call them, if you go on the internet and say MQL4 or MT4 indicator, range bar or something like that. But if you go into the link that I'm going to post, there's one that says indicators. So you have to add the indicators loaded. Then you got to load the templates. The templates are going to go look for the indicators. So the template's going to call up that indicator and put it on the screen. The other thing, I'm using a 20 pip grid because I know my window of entry is going to be about 10 to 30 pips, and my targets are going to be 20 to 40 to 60 to 80, and coming into tonight's market. So when you get into Monday, so funny, I was doing a stream or something, and some guy says, should we really be trading on Sunday night? I don't care what, it wouldn't matter to me. In fact, that Sunday night trade, when the market opens and slams down and gets all crazy and gapping, I'm usually making money in the first 4 hours there. And then, if that's nothing more than the market healing itself from the inventory left over on the weekend, or it does gap into an insane price and I get my scalp off, then I could sit back and go, okay, yeah. But I'm in and out of the market. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines waiting for these utopian setups, these golden. And the other reason why I can't do it is because I would be so nervous thinking, oh man, I hope this trade, because if you haven't traded for 2 weeks and you're waiting for that setup and then you have to pull the trigger, oh man, I mean, this better work. I got $5,000 into the trading course. I got my mentorship. I got my, it's a lot of pressure. I'm just saying, we'll reduce the pressure by trading very small over a wide range. And you find out, at least for me, it's not for everybody. A lot of people do want this optimal trade precision entry. I don't want it so much anymore. I mean, I guess I wanted it at the beginning because I thought I'm risking so much, and you kind of have to. I said, when I used to trade, if you put a stop in at $500 on soybeans, I mean, that's tight. That's a tight stop. And I'm down 500. Now what? There's only $5,000 in the account. Okay, now what? I mean, that to me is a problem. And that's why people put like $100,000 in a trading account and just nickel and dime it to death. I lost 200, lost 500, lost two grand, I lost 40. Some guy said he got a stock tip. I'm going to take this trade. Okay, I'm down 22 grand. Still got 80 grand left though. I did win a few trades.
Be able to understand what is happening on a lower time frame. Now, as an intraday trader, from a 4H perspective, I'm not really too fussed about this trend here. What I'm really focused on is what's happening here. So when we go down to the hourly time frame, you'll see this more clearly. What do you see? A beautiful uptrend, higher highs and higher lows. But then you might ask yourself, well then, Rock, why do you have the key level from the 4H here at the highs and the lows? Well, remember what I said. We have 3 levels. You have your major level, which is
3 levels.
Clearly, this is a very important level in the market. Then you have your target levels, and then you have your intermediate level. So in a minute, we'll go over the intermediate level. The thought process yesterday, let's go to the hourly and focus on this from an hourly perspective, and let's find our notes. I'm looking at the direction. The trend was up, making high highs and higher lows. So we put a little tick there. We have a key level that we need to be careful of, the 4H key level. As you can see, when price came to this level, it failed to break above it for a long period of time. So I'm looking for a higher high, higher low formation here. I'm looking for price to respect levels in the market, where it's holding, where there's multiple wick projections, just like this key level here. And then what I'm anticipating the market to do is make these higher highs. So the direction is up. My key levels are in and around here. And what I'm expecting the market.
Man, for all that talk, this is 1 hour chart. By the way, 1 hour chart here, a little lower frequency trading. The way I see this trade, or this whole event here, is that we could have traded this whole chart here. And we get stopped out of some stuff if we're not aware of the bigger picture. So this is 2 hours. I'm sorry, it's 8 hours. 4-hour chart right now. Did he go to the? Okay, he's on the 30-minute. He keeps changing this time frame. So this is the 1 hour chart. This is a Japanese yen. Oh, this is the guppy. This is a crazy fucking trade. Better open your wallet if you want to trade the guppy. So this is 3 hours clean up, 2 hours hard, 1 hour there. I don't know if we're tagging into the high of something there, but if you're going to sell that above here, they're going to take you out. This is a guppy. They're going to take you out of that. Because if you look left and you see a big void, watch out, because what you're going into this vacuum. And if you're the person that could afford to sell that, sell this level, sell that blindly, you'd have to martingale in, because when it pulls back, you got to make that chunk off of that. It comes back to support. You got to take that trade off. And this is the 1 hour chart, so you got to wait all the way until they come back to this. You're never going to you're going to get stopped out of this ticket. But you'd have to be crazy to step in front of this if, looking back to the left, it's like a 1 year. You're going into prices you haven't seen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So once this is established, and all the bulls have popped the cork into that glorious rally, it's over. Now I can sell into that again, and this is what I do now, like I would on the buy side. Same thing. When they pop the cork here, that's over. Like, look at this screaming move. Clean. One day, probably shear up. I'm like, you know what? Let's put some buy limits here. It's the cluster. There's the scalp. Going to buy that. Also, I know this whole thing is ripe for the picking to sell all over again. A retest. We're going to go for a retest. So instead of me getting on the long train, I just put in a bunch of sell limits again. I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove it. I'm doing it. And I'm getting short. And then when it gets to here, I'm cashing out. Why would I babysit this looking for, I got in a golf pattern, a hammer, let's buy it here. I could do that. I could wait for this setup and do that, but I thought, and this is going to be more work because I got to babysit it. I got to pull the trigger every hour, or I'm going to run really tight. And this is where you have tight buy limits, and you're always scalping. And is this really a great trade? Yeah, sure. If you trade heavy enough on this trade, but why can't I just range trade it and put sell limits up here and accumulate a short position? And when it comes back to where I know the buyers are going to start thinking about coming in, and this could actually take this out, by the way, but not in the next 3 bars maybe, because now that we've done this, we're actually probably trapped up in a higher. I'd have to look back on this. This guy posted this a while ago, and I've done that before where I'm like, well, let's see if this guy's prediction plays out. But if we don't have a bias, we're objective. Let's be objective traders. Let's not be biased traders. I mean, it's like racist. You're racist traders. What the fuck you are. Let's face it. We need an intervention. We need bias training. Diffusion. I mean, this is what the New World Order demands, is diversification. All right, don't go against this. They're going to take you off Twitter. We need everybody in here. Bulls, bears, hedge funds, everybody needs to, it has to be diversified. And make it equitable, fair for everybody. Okay, well, let's go into this, guys.
Is eventually make a new high. Now, if the market is in a push phase, I expect it to do what?
Push.
Pull back, respect.
Push. You mean like Led Zeppelin? Push.
Structure up, then make the high. But if the market exhausts and doesn't
A whole lot of love, a whole lot of forex.
continue and then eventually starts to break structure levels in the market, closing below those levels, what can I start to anticipate based on this criteria? Well, the direction is potentially changing. My key
Here's the I'm sorry, number 5 is bring it all together. So identify the direction. Okay, I got a bias. I'm a bias. I can't remember what it's called. This new thing. 1812 project. Identify the direction. Draw your key levels. Identify the phase. Look for patterns. Bringing it all together. I like that. They'll do that at the end of these books people write, and bringing it all together. So tell us, what kind of advice do you have for the new traders out there? You know what? Just start drinking. Open a demo account. Now, most demo accounts default at standard lot. You probably want to take that to a micro lot. So immediately you change that. Most of these brokers are set up to a standard. You could trade with standard lot too. And just buy and sell. Just get a feel for making a decision based on nothing other than you're just going to buy or sell. You got a hunch, whatever it is. Then look at the equity and picture yourself up $20, down $20, up 100, down 100, and you can picture yourself in a demo because you can just pull the trigger on that. So I would say the first place to start is you can download my template, but I would say just get the MT4 running. You can go watch some videos on it, but you can kind of find your way around, charts, how to get a chart other than the 4 they give you. They typically, most brokers have, it's going to be the pound, the euro, the Swiss franc, and the yen. You're just going to see 4 charts. Look at those key levels, all that bullshit. You can right mouse click on your chart. You don't need a script. You can put in a limit. Right mouse click on the chart. It's going to say buy limit or sell limit. You won't be able to put a stop in like that unless you spell it out to the computer. It'll let you trade at the market. It'll let you trade on limits. You don't need a script. And just have fun. If you've already got a job, that's making X money, why would you want to trade? Like, why would you want to go through all this insanity in these 5 checklists? Do you have this when you go to work every day? Well, identify my coffee. Let's see. I draw a path to the car I'm going to get in. What phase in the weather? And I look for patterns like, green light, go. There's a guy, I don't know if he's listening, but this guy in South London was like, he had this indicator, green light, red light. He thought it was cute. He goes, green light buy, red light sell. It's very simple. And that's what people want. They want this kind of no-brainer approach, no nonsense. Build an algorithm, which you're kind of curve fitting. You're really, all the winning trades that you back tested on there, of course they're winning trades because of the moving averages just happen to coincide with volatility enough not to crush you. You got enough trades off, and you could actually, I've done it before where you're losing way more trades than you're winning, but you're making more on your winning trades. So it's another fallacy of like your percentage of win. And it's just really, the big problem with trading is it involves money. Now, if we were trying to predict which football team was going to win, and people are betting on that apparently, it's different. It's a different feel of rooting for your team, rooting for the Bulls. It's in an uptrend. I'm rooting, I'm biased. Of course people are usually with their hometown team they like. I'm a hometown team as far as I'm concerned. When they run it like shit, I'm not a fan. I mean, not a sports guy, but there is that belonging mentality. And if you're going to go into the range trading world, which 80% of the market's range trading, you learn how to range trade, or you get used to not having a bias. I can't remember the name of that new catchphrase for diversity. They come up with these such pretentious formulaic talking point words, and it's ridiculous. Nice thing about the market is it's totally objective, and it doesn't know you exist. And that's the beauty, is that anybody can step in these markets and extract money from the fluctuation in price if you're in the right direction there. And I understand that people do want to be on the right side of it, but you can see by any chart that the bias is constantly in flux. Is there a way to make money riding a buy or sell without regard to whether or not you agree with all of the MACD stochastics and everything that says, oh yeah, this is like a triple confirmation. I got a top become a bottom. I got a particular candle pattern. I know these things exist, but I'm saying that on the 4-hour chart, maybe you could do this. 1-hour chart, it's just gone by you too fast. If you're asleep during 2 hammers, I see 2 beautiful hammers here at a key level. It just kind of pops out. Here's the top. Breakout, pull back, get in. There's 2 hammers there, so there's 2 chances to, if your trade system says, I only get in on dojis, and I talked about this in other videos, that the entry for a trend trader has to be a small body or a small range. Market quiets down. Broke out, pull back to support. And you could just trade this for 1 hour. Boom, you're out. They went into that, you're out. Because after that, I see all the trades here where there's a big supply or demand zone up here, and they take that and fucking, my internet just can't stay connected. My internet just I always think they're watching me. I guess this is the extra confirmation. Wait for another retest. I'm a trend trader. It's an uptrend. Oh, but then wah, wah, wah. Anyways, I could go for hours. I got to go get some more coffee. So I'll probably do a bunch of videos today. Who cares? But it's fun to criticize people because it's too much fun. I can see this guy's trade, and I'm sure he makes money. I'm not saying he doesn't make money, and he's not saying politically correct things. But I'm finding it to be more and more disturbing to see people think they can just avoid reality. I mean, there's so much more money to be made on this chart with a different approach, right? But the bias thing, it just kills me. We're only going to be selling today. Wow, then, okay, well, golly, let's go to the 5-minute chart and find a rally. I mean, I kind of want to just start trading already, like I don't want to wait, and I know there's going to be drama coming into tonight, I want to make money I want to at least make that a couple scalps. Can I ride a market for 12 hours? I guess, but I'd probably be adding on pullbacks. I'm like, okay, I can see, let me add this, but when we get to that exit, when we see this thing come up to here, you got to change your mind about this continuing. Especially filled this void. But yeah, buy limits for me all the way down here. I'm just going to hit a button. If they don't fill me, I start buying at the market every hour. I'm like, okay, looks like we're not going to come and invade this area down here. But then, this is even this 1 hour pullback here. I'm getting in here. I'm probably anticipating a fill of this, and once we gush into it, I got to cash out. And I could play this all, if I really focus on this. You'd have to. This is the guppy. This is probably about, I'm going to say this is probably 150 pips sell off here. I don't even know. But that's how that thing rolls. And the spread's brutal. The spread is about 5 pips. And if you're an ECN brokers, I'd put it up, if I was to bother, put this up on Hugo's Way, I bet you the spread goes to like 23 pips. 23 pips on 5 p.m. on Monday. So if you're in the trade with a 18 pip stop, you're gone. I don't care how good you think it's going to be in Asia that's going to start going your direction. You're out. They just so-called stop hunted you. You see your equity go like that, really you're going to take a hit. You'll see you're down $250, coming into right after 5 p.m. And they won't let you trade either. You can't even execute. I don't think for 5 minutes, at least Hugo's way, it looks like they lock you out. You can't trade. It's a true day trader's broker. But it wouldn't matter. To a guy that has a 200 pip stop, he's like, I'm in this trade, The less risk on the 1 hour charts, the 4 hour charts, and there's weekly and daily charts. My God, man. You run a 500 pip stop. Sure. Eventually you're going to make your 500 pips. Maybe on that, because how much punishment can you take? That's the question. All right. And this is just one guy, I don't even know what his. But here's the thing, this guy's got 150,000 subscribers, and this is 93,000 views on this. Look at all the thumbs up. People love this guy. So many traders jump in to trades prematurely without any real reason to be entering. How about just to have fun? Leads to very bad decisions. Revenge trading, chasing, and blowing accounts. That's only because you're in too big. You can revenge trade all day long with a small account. I don't know what this guy, if he's charging, but it looks like he has some kind of thing. Maybe people are donating to his number one breakout strategy right here, buddy. Number one breakout strategy. Get in right here. Oh, boy. Anyways. Wait for this guy to come after me. Copyright infringements. So, I'll do a video later on the current state of affairs in the markets. I should put more instruments up. I know a lot of people look at New Zealand and Australia, and it's just ridiculous. The Australian dollar barely moves. You have to trade so heavy on that. It's just, I don't know. Spreads aren't great. I say if you can't trade the pound and the euro and the yen, I mean, those are liquid markets. A lot of people trading it, and there's a lot of movement. To me, that's the way to go. I don't want to look at. It's just too much to focus on. I can't do that either. Can't look at all these markets simultaneously. I know people do it. That's a skill in its own. Looking at, and that's another thing, no nonsense. He got like 34 currency pairs up. One time he started talking about the Mexican peso. I'm like, dude, I don't even have a script for that. I looked at that thing and I'm like, man, I mean, what's going on here? I know people that do trade it. It'd be like if I decided to start trading crude oil. Actually, my scripts run on crude oil because of the way the increment is. They don't run on the S&P though. Certain instruments they actually run on. And some of these brokers are letting you trade crude oil and gold and all that stuff. Gold, you have to add 2 more zeros to my scripts. 2 more decimal points. But, yeah, I mean, that's just, I know people are doing it, and because they're scanning all the markets. So they're saying, well, what's the best market to be in right now? But those are people that are going to be in the trade, I think, for like at least 3 days. I just don't know how they survive the intraday volatility, and I guess they survive because they're not in that big. And there's just a whole crop of people that follow no nonsense. Now, if you ever gone down the no nonsense highway or the ICT highway, and they swear by it, and it fits them. I guess that's the thing. But for me, for some reason, it's not a good fit because I could see all the dangers in having a checklist. And I hate to go back to the girl thing is that, the guy that's buying the clothes for the girl doesn't exist. He's buying all the clothes he wants thinking, oh, just when she comes over, I'm looking for this one girl. But you're missing out on the other girls. And you never know when you're like, oh, God, this girl here, I can't believe it. The one that I ended up hitting with my car, she's the girl. Well, she just took it so well when I smashed into her. I love that kind of flexibility in a partner. Let's get married, God, you can handle this punishment? You're my kind of girl. Whereas maybe that's how you meet. Not so much in trading, though, because you got and if you make a winning trade, so this was the other concern when I was reading these trading books. I'm like, well, gosh, what if I discover my own trading plan? Can I trust it? And would I actually keep taking those trades, or I'm going to stick with my mentor's checklist and just go, okay, these are the rules of the road. I'm just going to follow this. And you can get along like that. And there are people out there, obviously. Oh yeah, I took a trading course and I'm trading now. I'm successful. I'm happy. I'm like, it's okay. Hey, you got moving average crossover system. You're taking 4 trades a month. You're making 20 grand a month. I can't argue with that. That's not going to be me. I'm just not going to sit there and watch my equity fluctuate wildly when I'm like, well, I could just get in and out of this. Like, at the end of the day, I could get out of the trade and just go, you know what? I'm just going to bank it. I know there's a target that's about 400 pips above me, but honestly, I tried doing that trade and I'm like, well, now we're down 50 pips. What the fuck? I was just up $500. Now I'm up $100. And that is the other bad idea is let your profits run. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm just going to take my money. But only because I can. Now, in the old days, you couldn't call your broker, especially if the commissions were so high in a commodity trade. I'm not going to just bail on that trade. I am going to ride it out. I'm let my profits run. I'm going to plan my trade my plan, wait till they stop me out, because if I get in and out, it's the commissions I think the commissions plus exchange fees plus whatever taxes, it's $46. I could put on a trade with a 46 pip stop and a 1K, and I'd be like, dude, I could be getting a 10K. I put a 10K on with a 46 pip stop in these markets. I guarantee you I can make $20 on that trade in a couple hours, or maybe in a day. But to go into the commodity market with the old joke is, where are all the customers' yachts when you go down to these brokerage firms? So yeah, definitely the brokers are making the money. 90% of traders lose money, but 90% of people can't even live their fucking life. They got a goddamn fucking mask on. I understand you got to wear that mask in the store, but when you get out of the store, why are you fucking wearing a mask on the way to your car? How are these people breathing? Is it just me? I mean, the only guy that is trying to breathe. Maybe I have emphysema or whatever. Not cut out for masks. Jesus fuck. And you got a mask on. I can't even hear what you're fucking saying. Like, don't even speak. Right? Don't speak. Play that song in your car. I know what you're mumbling, and I don't need a reason to wear 2 masks. Come on. Fucking A, man. Fucking A. So, 3 steps. I like these titles. And everything's like this. It's like baby steps here. 3 step process to finding the best trades. There is no best trade. They all suck. Look how many views this guy's got. Setup 1, setup 2, setup 3. Now, everything I just said is all based on size. If I take setup 1 and it sucks, and I'm in a small position, setup 2 sucks, small position, setup 3, why would I care? And once you start going against these do's and don'ts, there's no do's and don'ts in trading. I just don't think there is. This video here, Mark Douglas, how to think like a professional trader. Yeah, that's what most people can't. I said this before. I know this girl that owned this coffee shop. I used to hang out there. During the market crash, it was amazing what's going on there. But She loved her coffee shop. She decorated it. She went broke. She thought people gave a fuck about her decorations. They just wanted their coffee. And she just couldn't, it was so fancy. It was so fucking fancy. But for her, it wasn't about looking at the math. It was about, isn't this the cutest fucking coffee shop? Yeah, it's cute, but nobody gives a fuck. Sorry if you don't like swearing, but that's something I do. This is my skill. Cussing. I don't know what to say. I mean, and I loved her to death, and we would hang out. We would just sit there and people came there because people love coffee shops. But there was a coffee shop boom at that point. Everybody had a coffee shop. And now I don't even know. Starbucks even shut down some of their coffee shops. Yeah, it's just too dangerous to go out in fucking public now. What the fuck happened to people? So I knew when I saw this Corona thing, I said, you gotta be kidding me. They're gonna go there? Oh yeah, full lockdown. I understand that you want to put that doily on the toilet seat in the public bathroom, but I'm like, what are you gonna hover? I mean, what? Anybody getting ass cancer from a dirty toilet seat? I don't know. It's just such a fucking. The world is just full of pussies. Everybody's so soft. When Trump came on the scene, everybody just was cringing, like, oh my God, a real John Wayne's running the country? Oof. We can't have anybody that's making decisions that are logical and reasonable. Oh, that's just. So is everybody a product of this rule set? Rules for trading. Don't do this. And the biggest betrayal is that you're doing stuff you're not supposed to do. You're making money. Or you sit on the sidelines going, I had a gut feeling about this trade, but my fucking checklist and my indicators didn't catch up, and now I can't fucking trade this, and how am I ever going to make a living doing this shit? I waited fucking 3 days for that setup, and I missed the entry because I was afraid I was going to get stop hunted. Well, put your fucking mask on. Jesus Christ, people with the masks. I don't get it. As soon as Biden stole the election, I was like, I went to the store, the only one I wear a mask in, and I thought, I'm not going to wear a mask, right? Because you stole the election, and you said that we all knew that they were really trying to put a damper and just really using that to make the economy look bad so they wouldn't vote for Trump. And then they stole it on top of it. This is fucking amazing. And now they're still trying to impeach the guy. What does that tell you? They're so afraid of this motherfucker that he woke everybody up to what's really going on. Anyways, maybe you don't like Trump, but that's only because you don't like his style. But this guy's doing logical things. Okay, so the argument that the bedside manner of your doctor is not great, but he saved your life. He may be an asshole. He's a very talented asshole. Don't throw the baby out with the kiddie porn, right? Anyways, back to my my charts here. But if I get inspired here, I'll come back and complain some more for everybody's benefit.